Trust almost killed Axe Capital. And that is never going to happen again.
I want the world to know he's going down.
As long as Rhodes is in that job, I'm not safe. Change is coming.
Asia's character of Taylor is a transformative one in many ways because they have come into this very testosterone-heavy world of Axe Capital and Wall Street high finance. Give a little bit of a sense of why you made a decision to have a character like that and what it's going to mean going forward in further seasons.
You know, we really wanted to introduce somebody into Axe Capital, as you said, into this very testosterone-heavy world of Axe Capital. Although it's and in the beginning of the season, Maggie's character isn't there. But we wanted to bring somebody in who wouldn't seem like they'd be someone that Axe would gravitate toward from the outside, from the external characteristics, but someone who Axe would be able to recognize had great intellect, the ability to process and synthesize information very quickly, someone who could play back to Axe. And as we started thinking about that character and looking at the world, we realized one way to do it would be to bring in a gender non-binary character. We had been thinking a lot about what inclusivity means and about how somebody from the outside, how one would think someone from the outside would be treated, and then how it was possible for them to actually be treated.
You know, Wall Street is a place that's been very traditional and very sexist over a long period of time. If you
put it mildly.
But hedge funds aren't part of the mainstream, the main sort of phalanx of Wall Street. In a way, they're sticking a thumb in the eye of the old institutions. And not to say that hedge funds are these great places that are sort of doing these ideological things. I mean, they're only for profit. But we had this idea that if Axe is a guy who's all about profit and he gravitates towards the people that can make him the most profit, if he walks it like he talks it, then somebody that comes in who's brilliant will be meaningful to him no matter what sort of, outer wrapper they come in or what they represent, other than the pure profit.
We talked a lot about the way in which you were going to be introduced. And there were a number of terms that people used, and one we decided on was performer. But I think that's changed a bit now. So let's talk a little bit about where that's going.
When Showtime graciously informed me that they were going to be submitting me for a nomination, it came to my attention that, as we all know, there are two categories, actor and actress. And it's something I've thought about for a long time, and I decided that I wanted some clarification from the Television Academy as to what those two words mean to them. And so I wrote them a letter, and the Academy got back to me right away and said, well, actually, the rules have always stated that anyone can enter either category for any reason. And the Academy is certainly not going to, ask for a birth certificate or do any kind of check. And so based on that information and based on some research I did to the etymology of the words actor and actress, actor is a non-gendered, non-sexed word from the late 1500s that applied to anyone of any anatomical sex or gender identity. So given the two categories, actor and actress, actor is a non-gendered, non-sexed word that I used, so that's what I chose.
What for you has the evolution of the character been like? Which has been remarkable for those of us watching.
It's funny, like, talking about this in the context of gender, because the way that I've always thought about Wendy is she's got this sort of yin-yang about her. Like, she's very comfortable with the male ego structure. She's very comfortable in a man's world, and she can be a shark, just sort of like the rest of them. But she's also a therapist, so she has these huge stores of empathy. So I sort of think of her as, like, a man-woman in a real women's package.
For us, the subversive thing we did in the first season and what our partners at Showtime knew we were going to do is in this titanic battle of these two men, the winner the first season was a woman. Wendy clearly won the first season. She had the only sort of clear victory. And so in the second season, of course, she has to now grapple with what that means about her. And what it means when you've done this kind of thing, when you've leaned into that side of who you are and drove off in the Maserati with the $5 million, leaving the two guys behind. Like, so that was really important to us to be able to see, what happens in the long tail of that action.